Hey, boys and girls of the internet and YouTube. Um, I've actually never done a full length YouTube video before. I'm not a YouTube guy. This video was shot over a few week period as I was waiting for parts, so you probably hear me repeat myself a few times. But it's basically just a video of a Promoto that got wrecked really bad, broke a lot of stuff, and I completely rebuilt it with GPM stuff. And I'll get to it here shortly. I do want to give a special thanks to a lot of people who have helped me in this journey. Kevin Talbot on YouTube has got me back into the hobby. Earl Moorhead's been great with breaking down the bikes and showing what to do. Riley's Deals on Facebook. I buy a lot of RC stuff from Riley's Deals on Facebook. That guy is awesome to deal with. He's so fast on shipping, excellent customer service, and he sends me stuff really quick. He's not a sponsor, but he's a really good guy, and I will continue to buy from him. Also, just want to thank my wife for putting up with all of this, and my great friend Ray and his family for always coming out and playing with us, and that's part of the reason for the change up of the numbering, at least on this bike, is because his kids are awesome, and his eldest is a semi-professional Kawasaki rider, and so I'm gonna try to make the bike close as his as I can. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my wife suggested it'd probably be a good idea to make a video of all the stuff that I'm about to do. I really like Earl Moorhead stuff, but I'm not gonna. I don't have the equipment to set up to be able to film myself do all the build on this. So I also have to wait for a few parts, unfortunately. Bike got into a bad accident. Was doing a wonderful wheelie, holding it for the entire length of the parking lot. Gust of wind pushed the bike over. It stayed up on its wheel, but when I let off the throttle to get it back down on its front wheel, it was too late. It ran into a curb, smacked hard here, and then flipped upward. So it bent the front wheel real bad, many places. It even bent the brake rotor, the hub, the shaft. It smashed the triple trees, upper and lower. So I decided to go ahead and just do the upgrade on everything. I don't know where the label went for that, but that is the GPM upper and lower triple trees. That's the number for the Losi front and rear axle shaft kit. This is just the GPM green aluminum foot pegs for the rider. It just looked nice. Figured might as well do front and rear upgraded aluminum hubs or axles, whichever you want to call them. I'm not really sure. I've already done the front one. Fortunately, I was able to get a wheel and tire. That's the Vidavon stainless steel caliper. And then the nice little green GPM axle. It feels lighter than stock. I don't have a scale to weigh it, unfortunately. But anyway, moving on. I also got one for the rear. Because of the way the bike flipped up, I snapped the rear shock shaft in half. So doing that. Figured while I'm in there, the part that the rear shock swivels on, I'm just going to go ahead and replace that. There's its part number. This is what holds the handlebars onto the triple tree. Figured, in for a penny, in for a pound, right? I see a lot of people have cracked these, so I went ahead and pre-ordered that a while ago. That's the that goes up there, so that should help that out. I also went ahead and bought the aluminum knuckle. This is the part that swings the rear shock. So figured, again, might as well. Also went with the GPM steering, the servo saver. And then I do have all fresh plastics. I'm going to dress the bike up to honor a buddy of mine's kid. He races Kawasaki. He's number 7, so I'm just going to go ahead and redo all the plastics in the bike to honor him. Where I'm stuck at now, and why this video is going to be delayed a couple weeks, is this screw. He was so stuck in there, it eventually wore out down there, and when I was able to grab that with a pair of pliers, it stripped out the head. So the shaft that runs in there has to be bent. I figured might as well just go ahead and order the GPM green upper part of that frame. It's just going to be the easiest way. I was going to do it when it broke eventually anyway. And when I ordered that, I did order this section in the green GPM, and also the top fuel tank part. So those parts will show up. I'll add those to the video. I'll take some video shots as I'm putting it together. All in all, this is definitely my favorite RC vehicle. It is unbelievable. I was heartbroken when it had that accident and caused that and did all that damage, just because parts right now for these things are impossible to get. Fortunately, I have really good friends in the industry, like Riley's Deals off of Facebook. That man is awesome. He's found me some stuff that I thought was impossible to find. But we'll get her together, and hopefully it'll be better than ever. Well, this is turning out to be much more of a project than I had initially anticipated. The rest of the parts have finally shown up. So I've gone over all those before, but that's what just showed up. And that. And rear brake, caliper, and that piece. And the whole reason that piece was ordered, now I'll show you here shortly. Only thing that I have done so far is put the GPM hub on the brand new wheel with the bit of on rotor. So that's really all I've done. Been on hold for the last week here, waiting on parts because of, well, I'll show you here in a minute. You got it?
Yep.
So to go from a nice RC day like that to that video that I just showed you, we come to this damage where I initially thought it was just the triple trees that were broken. This rod in here has definitely bent. I am a mechanic by trade, so I brought it to work and we grabbed a hold of it with parrot jaw pliers. And I don't know if you're familiar with parrot jaw pliers, but you can literally grab the threads of a bolt and rip a bolt in half with them. They grab so hard. It barely moved. We were grabbing both sides with the parrot jaws. So that's why all the GPM stuff is going on. Now, mind you, I'm not a GPM loyalist. It's all new stuff. I thought it would look cool. It was the first one to get here. I'm not sponsored by them. I did buy all this stuff off of Amazon and eBay, and well, directly from Horizon for the most part. But yeah, like I've spent way more than I care to admit in Vidavon for that rig, and now Vidavon's got that aluminum chassis that the Exo Caged just showed us last week, and well, now I'm jealous and kind of want it too. I need to play with it more. I need to play with all of them more, really. But this is the primary one, so and the next clip, since I can't really record while wrenching on this thing, I will just, or you all will see it mostly together, and we'll see how she does. So, continuing on a little bit in this rebuild update, it's actually, the bike's not that hard to pull apart. You pull apart your outside plastics just there and there, and there's only one pivot bolt to pull him out, and this little piece here, you know, he just bolts right on top. 2 screws, or 4 screws, excuse me, comes right out. And now I just got to get the dampener spring, or the protection, I guess, you know, keeps it from breaking the front end. Unbolt the servo and swap everything over to that. You know, some things to note for other people that are doing this. There's a little cover that covers that servo's wire. A real tiny little guy. But so far, that's really all the screws I've had to remove to get it down to this point here. Since I'm replacing the saver and all that, really the only part I'm going to be reusing is the spring and the servo itself. But so far, so good. Let's hope it keeps going well. All right, so moving along here. Believe it or not, the hardest part was getting that dang steering servo wire out. It just doesn't want to really come out, so I had to take off that screw so I can separate the plate enough to squeeze the wire on the other side so I could actually get the servo wire out from under there. You do have to reuse this plastic pivot that goes into this rod back here, which that spring sits on. I'm not going to really put everything together until at least plug the servo in to make sure I centered it. I tried to make sure. That's the new servo saver, as well as the GPM parts for that. You do also have to reuse the black little channel cover for the steering servo wire. So, continuing on. Well, I have to say progress is going pretty well on it. I wouldn't say it's an easy RC car to work on, or vehicle, but it's not a hard RC vehicle to work on. Definitely, if you need to have experience in working on other RC vehicles, because you have to take off a lot just to get to, you know, well, everything. Things to keep in mind if you do all this GPM, well, any brand metal stuff, you're going to want to make sure you lock tight all of those screws, obviously, otherwise they're going to end up coming out. I've already centered the steering, so I do know that's good. Got all that back in place. The factory, this panel here, there we go. So that little hole there is where the antenna normally runs into. So it's no longer there. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with the antenna. You know, probably just something like that. I don't know. One thing I do really like, these GPM foot pegs. This is metal, but it's got a barbed fitting on it, unlike the stock ones, which, I mean, they kind of do, but this is definitely much more robust, so hopefully this will keep the feet from popping off. Plus, they just look really nice. And so far, everything seems to be 70-75 aluminum, so nice and strong. Just, you know, be careful tightening it up, because it is still aluminum, so you don't want to over tighten it. But almost there. So just to throw another little update in here, if this is an installation somebody's planning on doing, this has got 4 metal bushings that go in, and I had put all of that together before I realized they were missing, so I had to pull it all apart to put it back together. And if you do wreck this thing hard enough to hurt the front end or crack this is designed from the factory to take most of the brunt and crack. But this metal bar that goes from that side to that side, didn't realize it was bent. So if you're doing this job, you definitely want to order that bar just to be safe. I was able to hammer mine back straight, but it's a problem. Anyway, moving on to the next. And there we have it. At long last, this thing is finally done. This was a heck of a rebuild. You've seen the damage, but did all new plastics, all new GPM stuff, and I think it looks just fantastic. I guess we'll just start off with all of it. Had to do a new front wheel and tire, and we have the GPM hub on there, our axle, and a Vidavon front brake rotor. And we have the GPM triple trees in 7075 aluminum, and the upper part of the frame as well as the tank. Got the bash plate that likes to crack. If it would focus, please. That's in GPM now. Did that plate. Did the underplate. Did the swing assembly for the rear shock. Since I had to replace the rear shock, it bent it so bad it is stuck in that position, and it broke the head off of it. Also got the GPM rear hub, and let's see here, GPM rear brake rotor. Of course, it's not functional, but it looks nice with the GPM caliper. And then we got the GPM foot pegs that really bite down a lot better on the feet now. Altogether, I'm really happy with it. It's all freshly stickered, freshly plasticed. Can't wait to go take her for a ride. I'm terrible with stickers, but I numbered it number 7 after my my buddy's eldest son's bike, since he is a Kawasaki rider and he's number 7 and he just loves this thing. I figured I would I gotta pull his britches up there. Figured I would make it to emulate him, because he's an excellent rider and that he's got great things coming in life. But this bike, this build has been fun. This bike is extremely fun. This weekend, I guess I will take it out and see how it does with this GPM stuff on there. I do feel a little bit more weight on the bike, so I don't know how it's going to affect it, but time will, or tomorrow hopefully will tell. But I think it came out pretty dang good. And I almost forgot, after I make sure it does do good again, or at least performs like it does factory, then it's time for the Supermoto wheels. Thank you, Mr. Riley from Riley's Deals on Facebook, for getting those for me. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to check them out.